has an uncontrollable power, and when unleashed, it can be painful.
Your boobs are huge.
The dark power of the truth.
I can't lie!
Jim Carrey stars in Liar Liar. Premieres next on Sci-Fi.
Hey everybody, welcome back to What the Hell Happened to Them? A title fight is brewing. That's right, this season, Eddie Murphy versus Jim Carrey. I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill. And joining me on the line is a man who cannot tell the truth, Joe Vekeman.
I can't lie.
Yes, we got ourselves in a bit of a paradox there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. And on the
I
audio
have
board,
to tell you, I can't lie. I can't lie all of a sudden.
Oh no, what?
What's happening?
What a terrible birthday wish was thrust upon you. And on the audio voice is Love Van Rensselaer, reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothamcast@gmail.com. And our sponsor this week is The World According to Tarps. Get all your tarps need here. And a world full according to you don't know how to do this is not written very well.
It's good. It's got a lot that's doing.
Doing a lot, The World According to Tarps. Go there for all your tarp needs and learn how the world works, tarp-wise. All right, Joe. Oh, sorry. Lev is reminding me that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothamcast@gmail.com. It's been a while, Joe, since we've done this live. Let me rephrase that. We obviously did that Take Crazy Nights blah blah thing in person, but with our normal format,
yes,
we really haven't done this since Moana 2 came out like 5.5 weeks ago or something, 6
It's
weeks
a
ago
long
maybe.
time. I'm a little rusty.
We had a big break there. But we're back to Jim and Eddie, ready to go. We gave you some Adam Sandler remixes. We hope you enjoyed those. But back to Jim and Eddie.
And we have Jim this week.
With a movie that I think, yes, very synonymous with Jim Carrey's career overall. When you think of Jim Carrey, this is one of those movies that come up right away. Joe, what is it?
It is 1997's Liar Liar, a Tom Shadyac movie.
Yes. And for
a
those
frequent collaborator for him.
For those who somehow don't have any idea what goes on in this movie, why don't you explain it for the audience?
A pathological lawyer, finds his career turned upside down when he inexplicably cannot physically lie for 24 whole hours. That was the joke that the
writer of this movie went to his son's career fair, and another kid went my dad's a liar, and the teacher's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, oops, a lawyer. And he's like, aha, I have an idea for a movie.
Yeah, it really feels like the cold open is how this germinated somehow.
Yeah, so you've seen this movie a lot. Did you see it when it came out, or was it a big part of your childhood?
I think it was a rental when I was 8 or 9, and then it's just been in heavy rotation since.
Yes, I've never seen the movie before.
That's insane.
The closest I've ever gotten was some really ridiculous Sci-Fi Channel promo of the movie I caught. When they'd be like, and a man is cursed by a special power. He can't lie. And it's dramatic music comes up and you're like, whoa, that's probably not the tone of the movie at all.
It's the Cable Guy kind of trailer.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's good.
So never seen it. Obviously there were commercials for it on TV whenever it would air on some channel. And I would see a joke here or there, but never saw the full thing straight through.
It feels like it would fit in with Comedy Central or TNT, just because there's a big courtroom case in it, and they know drama.
Yes, thank you. Comedy Central, but I never saw it there. It feels like a TBS thing. I could see this on TBS.
Yeah.
Maybe, back in those late 90s, ABC's Saturday night movies, you could have put it on there.
Yeah, who made this picture? Just Universal?
I watched this on Peacock, so that would be my guess. But I guess it has left Peacock as of today, so I don't know.
It did. I had to pull out my DVD. It is a Universal picture.
All right, well, so I don't... Yeah, Peacock just selling its stuff to everybody else.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Why are they doing that? I still love this movie. I can kind of quote it endlessly.
Yeah, I thought the movie was fun. For an extremely high-concept film, it was fun. It didn't overstay its welcome.
It really flies.
Came in, did the thing, got out.
It really doesn't... It doesn't stop. It's just going. Jim's, always on screen. He's never not. That's cool.
No, and he's doing the Jim thing, but it doesn't feel like he doesn't feel like a cartoon. You know, he's not Ace Ventura. He's like a dad who like just likes to be silly with his Jim Carrey entering his dad era now, and like it kind of transitions well because he's like trying to be goofy for his kid. He's got the claw.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do the Sandler thing where he just starts only making, like, family, like, where he's the dad all the time.
No, but, like, when Sandler's the dad, he's just, like, the dad. He's, like, God.
Yeah.
Where Jim Carrey's, like, still trying to do his Jim Carrey stuff. And he even got to do the high concept thing that forced him to do silly, wacky stuff as he's trying to not lie. It's sort of a smart use of him in the dad role.
Did you stay for the bloopers and
Yeah, I stay for a whole movie unless they kick me out. Unless the streaming service is like, we're going to the next thing now, and I went, no, what happened to my credits?
when Swoozie Kurtz and they're like yelling back and forth at each other, and she's just like, overactor.
Yeah.
And then he falls because he's like, oh yeah, you got me. I'm glad to see that he's a good sport, because you know you always hear the things right now of like him kind of being a little high maintenance and tough to deal with on set.
And there's like flavors of high maintenance. There's the high maintenance where like you think you're God's gift to acting, right? And you're like,
this movie, he argues with it. He makes the argument.
Yeah. But there's some high acting where just like you really need to be intensely focused or comfortable or something. Like you just need the vibe to be a certain way to feel like you can do your best things. And, you know, we've seen that for, like, some actors be like, just get over yourself, man. We're doing a stupid... You know, David Spade's like, listen, Dustin Hoffman, we're fucking racing horses here, cartoon characters. It doesn't matter, dude. But, like, so, you know, they're a good embaz to, like, what you need from your craft.
What Dustin Hoffman and David Spade... Are you talking? Is this
Racing Stripes?
Racing Stripes.
Yeah. And there's David Spade tells the story of how Dustin Hoffman did his voice work, then did some research on what horse he was actually playing. Was like, oh no, the mouth is different. I have to come back in and redo all my lines because it wasn't the mouth I was imagining. And David Spade, who's like playing a fly with.
Who sits on like the shit.
He's playing
Dustin
a fly
Hoffman.
with, I don't know, like some rapper guy. Like they're teaming up to be like the comic relief flies on the horses that are in this middle of this horse story.
Yeah.
David Spade heard that and he was like, dude, what the just take the paycheck. No one's going to watch this movie anyway. But like, so on the one hand, I respect Dustin Hoffman for like wanting to do that well, but it also is kind of eye-rolly to agree where it's like, we're not doing anything important here, guys. So if Jim Carrey's in the scene and just like is just goofing around with this lady and she sneaks in a quip, like it seems easier to be able to have a good reaction from something like that.
I don't know if this is in correct billing order, but David Spade is listed over Dustin Hoffman in that billing order. He might not like that. That movie came out in January of 2005. They dumped it. But hey, guess what? $30 million budget made 90.
There you go. Thank you, Dustin Hoffman. It was your tireless sacrifice that brought all those box office dollars in there.
The other person that was, you said it was a rapper that was with David Spade. Could you have, oh, wow. It was Snoop Dogg. But we could always come back and revisit Racing Stripes.
It was Snoop Dogg. It was David Spade and Snoop Dogg as flies.
Yep.
Awesome.
And we could always come back and revisit that when we come and say hi to Whoopi again.
Oh, yeah. When we do the top 10 animated Whoopi films. The top 10 direct to DVD, direct to VHS Whoopi films. So many options to pick for another Hangin' 10 round with her. Yeah,
of course. And she, is in one of the highest grossing animated movies. It's called The Lion King.
Oh, yeah, she's one of the hyenas, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, it's either that or the Jonathan Taylor Thomas season.
Let me give you some little trivia stuff for you.
Okay.
Let's see. Jim Carrey agreed to do the film after reading the script, feeling happy to play a character who was a normal person, mainly because he doesn't have to alter his hair and put on makeup for the role.
I agree. And it's... So this is what I was thinking. I'm like, wow, what a great script for Jim that takes advantage of his things, but kind of keeps it very, very in world. But like then I thought, was this written for him, or is this going to be like one of those movies where we're like, wow, this movie's perfect for Jim. Meanwhile, there was actually like a list of 10 actors that were considered before Jim that clearly would have been terrible for the role.
Well, First of all, the script wasn't always about a lawyer. Fletcher was almost a politician or a real estate agent.
Yeah, it all seems the same.
The courtroom thing makes, I think,
I think, is a better third act climax than the airplane thing, which probably existed from the beginning.
God, does that look great, though? Because it does not look like a CGI airplane at all.
Listen, here's what I'll say.
How did they do that?
Yeah, here's what I'll say. I'll say, one, clearly the movie's old because that's like 80,000 regulatory federal offenses right now.
Yeah.
For doing that. Like, good thing he's a lawyer and can argue himself out of it. But more importantly, like, why can't comedies just be comedies? Why does every third act have to be like this big whole thing? Like, it feels like comedies now have this big action climax to it now, or there's like a big, like, save the
that
thing.
Much
or
action. He was just chasing the airplane on a staircase. That's a funny thing, though. That's a good set piece.
I don't know. I just wanted the calm. Like, we were doing this courtroom thing. That was fine. I just want them to be quieter. I don't need them to get so big at the end. It's too much.
The movie takes place in like 3 rooms for the most part. And so they could spend all the money on this one big set piece. And it's funny.
Well, that's why it feels like even crazier. Like it sort of stands out way more that he's now doing this tarmac chase sequence.
You don't like it.
I don't hate it, but I just would have preferred it not doing this. I just see this happen in comedy. Like, I don't know. Horrible Bosses. Now it's this big murder thing, and they got like a whole murder life. I don't want that. I don't know. No. Like, it's too... I just wanted a funny comedy workplace thing. Last night, I'm clueless. Small, quiet comedy. Bridesmaids. Kind of like the stakes feel high because the bride is missing, but like the whole world hasn't stopped, and everybody's like, No, it's just like a girl woman, she's got to find the bride. They did it. The end. Well,
I mean, the world didn't stop. They had to land a plane.
Just a big bombastic music and big chase. It's big. That's an action set piece.
Yeah, I liked it, though.
He's hanging off of a thing. He's almost falling off. He gets thrown into some luggage.
It's great, and there's a couple of things here. So, Jim Carrey cameos as Fire Marshal Bill, a character he played in Living Color, obviously. During the scene where Fletcher is on a stretcher, Fire Marshal Bill can be seen talking on a walkie-talkie in the crowd.
I missed that.
Me too.
I can't go back to Peacock and watch it either. Why did he do that? He just was like bored that day. And he's like, hey, it'd be funny, guys?
I think he was just trying to have some fun.
Yeah. It's like a lot of work for a background gag. But I'm into it. I'm just like, I'm impressed. This is the thing. You could be like, he's a diva, but he went and did that. But he didn't have to at all in any way, and probably didn't get extra for it. He just for fun.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like he's having a great time on the movie. Plus, it's like one of his director guys, so it's not like some rando.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey declined the role of Dr. Evil in Austin Powers International Man of Mystery so he could be committed to this film. And also to take a break away from having to...
I was fine. I wanted to play every role anyway.
Well, he also didn't want to lose his hair, put on makeup, and wear eye contacts for the role.
Understand? He's like, which do I have to do? No work or a lot of work? I get it.
When Fletcher beats himself up in the restroom, no sound effects were used. Those are really the sounds of Jim Carrey's head slamming into the urinal floor and the walls.
Wow. Jeez.
He was very committed. That's why I said, where's his Oscar?
Yeah.
This is the one.
Well, they're saving it for Sonic 3. They were like, we wanted to wait for the trilogy to be done, but we're doing a Lord of the Rings thing here.
Yeah, and they can say, we can praise his dual roles for it. Yeah. He plays Dr. Robotnik and then older Dr. Robotnik.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
The script was turned down 9 times before producer Brian Grazer bought it. He only heard 2 sentences about the movie before he bought the idea.
Yep, high concept. That's what you do.
The filmmakers purposely chose not to explain why or how the wish came true. Who cares?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't miss that.
Tom Shadyac said that he and Jim Carrey wanted to do a film without flatulence, but couldn't grow up that fast.
Was there flatulence in there?
Yeah, because he's getting on the elevator and he's like, it was me!
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's like a little tongue-in-cheek thing. I don't mind that one.
Jim Carrey was paid $20 million for this film.
How much was the film overall?
And I'll tell you, he was worth every penny. It was a $45 million budget. Jesus Christ. paid almost half the budget.
Poor Maura Tierney there is just getting the HAP deal.
You're $5,000. Thanks for being
50 grand. She's like, I just want to work with him so much. I'm tired of this Dave Foley guy. He's a fucking jerk. I'm gonna go and do the. No, Dave Foley seems very nice.
What is that?
That's News Radio. She's on News Radio right now.
Yes.
She's like, let me break into movies by playing a completely unnecessary and worthless female thankless role. Could be played by anybody.
You're not wrong.
Yes.
What, are you suggesting that Julie Bowen should have gone from Happy Gilmore set?
Like any, I feel bad for all these comedy women that like get into these comedy movies as the love interest and get to do nothing. Yeah, Julie Bowen, Courtney Cox, like the list goes on. Just they don't get to do anything.
Well, I thought Jennifer Tilly was fun in this.
Fine. She's playing sort of against type, where she's usually like the ditzy, goofy lady, the young waif.
Yeah.
Now she's like angry shrew lady. Like I wouldn't have guessed it, but it did work.
Yeah.
Haven't seen her since Made in America. Remember that?
Made in America.
Ted Danson, Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh. I thought that was like a new thing, and I thought you were talking about the OJ documentary. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Is she really in that?
Maybe this is how she got to be the bride of Chucky. She's like, oh, you can play a bad guy. Well, let's
it's
put you
like
in
right around the corner, right?
Yeah. We had Sherry O'Terry of Southland Tales fame.
Yep. Another crossover
about that.
for us.
This kid, what's
Justin
this kid
Cooper.
from? He looks familiar. Have I seen him in some?
He was on Full House. He's in an episode of Full House, episode of ER. He's on an episode of Boy Meets World. And he did one season of Brother's Keeper, a TGIF show. He's on one episode of The Practice. And straight to video, Dennis the Menace sequel, General Hospital one episode, and then this movie, and then that's really it. He did
this
anything.
movie, and then like he peaked. Like they was like, nah, highly successful film. Nah, we don't need him anymore.
He did the same year as Boy Meets World episode. He did this movie. Then the next year he did the Dennis the Menace direct to video, and then the same year as that he did 23 episodes of that Brothers Keeper show, and then he's done pretty much. He's all done. Isn't that crazy?
That is kind of crazy that this is how you go. I guess if you want to go out, you go out on top. It just feels like this would open up a lot of doors for him.
On top, you say, a $45 million budget, and I will tell you, this movie made $302.7 million.
Yep, all those people who passed on the script feeling pretty stupid.
Just
like nobody could be like, oh yeah, Jim Carrey could do it. Jim Carrey, easy, done. Or they were like, ooh, the cable guy, we don't know.
The opening weekend, it made $31 million. It was the second highest 3-day opener ever for Universal Pictures, only coming second to Jurassic Park. At the time, Liar Liar had the second highest opening weekend for an Imagine Entertainment film, behind Ransom. Ransom!
What is Ransom?
It's a Mel Gibson, Ron Howard movie.
Okay.
The film was ranked number 1 during its first weekend, beating both the special edition release of Return of the Jedi and Selena. It would stay at the top of the box office for a total of 3 weeks before being overtaken by Anaconda. The big, big, big hit. And let me see here. Roger Ebert.
Roger, Roger, Roger. Roger, 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 Roger. R-O-G-E-R. R-O-G-E-R.
Of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3 out of 4 stars and stated, I am gradually developing a suspicion, or perhaps it is a fear, that Jim Carrey is growing on me. As he had given negative reviews to his previous films, Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura.
Well, infamous curmudgeon Roger Ebert.
He just doesn't like comedy.
This seems like something where he could like get behind. It's just like a very low-key kind of thing. Jim Carrey's not being too Jim Carrey. It's got a little heart to it. Feels like right up his alley.
It does. And it's got, the family aspect.
Yeah.
It really helps it for him. Tom Shadyac and Jim Carrey saw the film as a transition in their careers toward more grounded comedies. I guess.
Grounded magical realism comedies.
They really liked that word because they kept the filmmakers cast Maura Tierney because she was so grounding for Jim Carrey.
We just won't let you do anything more. Thanks for coming on board.
To get into character, Carey Elways bought his inspirational self-help books from Sky Mall. The film was rewritten by Judd Apatow, who went uncredited.
Is there a list of people who were considered for the role? I'm always fascinated by those and being like, why did you think that?
Although Robin Williams declined the role of Fletcher Reed, he went to work on Tom Shadyac's next movie, Patch Adams. This script was tailored at Disney for Goldie Hawn in early stages.
She would be the liar?
I guess so. Another actor considered for Fletcher was Hugh Grant. It's a very different movie.
Yes. I just want the list to be like, we're going to have Hugh Grant or Nick Nolte or Christian Slater or, Bob Saget or just some random... And you're like, well, none of those guys would have been great. Why would you pick any of them? But they were like the who's who of their day.
Jim Carrey's tendency to improvise and go off script resulted in longer than planned shooting schedules, causing frustration among the cast and crew. They all look like they're having a good time.
Yeah, see, there's the diva. So, when you're laughing, you're great. But, there's only so many 14, 15-hour days you want to deal with.
This is wild, because the same year as the year she won her Oscar, Helen Hunt was considered for the role of Samantha Cole, who I believe is Jennifer Tilly's character.
Okay.
Can you imagine? I'm gonna do this big comedy, yeah, but maybe I'll do this potentially the same how that movie made a lot of money too, right? As Good as It Gets.
Yeah, I believe so.
Ha! She chose well. That movie made $314 million.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Yeah, they're both scrapping for that last couple mil. No, I think.
Yeah, she should be wasted. That's crazy.
That is, of the female roles in the movie, that probably is the more interesting one.
Sure, but
because your other two, the mean lawyer lady, while slightly more interesting than Maura Tierney lady, is also very one note, where at least you got a little wiggle room and range and up and downs for this. If I'm Maura Tierney, I'd rather be the Jennifer Tilly role.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of poorly utilized, why you got the Robin Hood Men in Tights guy? Why'd you get him for his thing? He's not doing anything.
You got the Robin Hood Men in Tights guy?
Yeah.
That's how you remember him?
What do you remember from?
He's the Saw guy. No, I'm kidding. He's the Princess Bride guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever. We picked the comedies from basically the same era.
Saw's not really a comedy.
I didn't. You picked Saw as a joke. You picked. Nobody picked Saw. Just seems odd. You're like, let's get this comedy actor and then not let him do any comedy. I don't get it.
Yeah, I wish there was more casting stuff about this movie, but I guess it was pretty cut and dry.
Cut and dry. They're like, we have a silly guy. Let's get Jim Carrey. Box office and say it's okay that he did the Cable Guy. We'll overlook that.
The movie still did fine, right? It didn't do crazy numbers, but it did fine, right?
I don't think it was a bomb, but I think when you're not I think it was barely profitable, on the teetering on profitability. I think that was the problem with it.
$47 million budget, made 102.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Fine.
That's still pretty good.
And I know it was looked back at strangely because
I don't think people liked it then either. That's why it made a third what Jim Carrey's movies usually make. But also maybe people just don't like Matthew Broderick. I don't know.
Yeah, he was in a weird space. Yeah, this movie's just great, and it's a reflection on myself to be a better father, and
keeps you humble.
It does.
Keeps you humble. Anyway, we got the dad.
Yes.
One of the dads from Dharma and Greg.
Yeah, is that Greg's dad?
Greg's dad also plays in the Drew Carey show. When Drew Carey's dad dies, he tries to set his mother up with this guy, but then he and Daedric Bader keep fighting over him because they both want him for their moms.
That's good.
Yes. Speaking of which, we need to take a little Drew Carey check-in.
Moon over Parma, bring my love to me tonight. Guide her to Eastlake.
Oh.
Because I've been writing a list, checking it twice, because I've been watching the Drew Carey show on Plex. And the Drew Carey was having a hard time finding any rerun ability outside of terrestrial TV, despite me having the Middle Aged People channel. It's not on there. because of the music rights. Well, now they finally got Plex to show them, but having watched these episodes so many times, I know when they've had to change things that are musical based.
Damn.
And sometimes I'd wonder why they or how they were going to plan to do that, and sometimes I just didn't even realize there was a musical issue that they had to cut around. In one of the early episodes, there's like a tag where like Drew and his friends and his boss are like singing some kind of like Irish drinking song or whatever. And I just assumed it was something that they made up there, but they had to like just put black credits over it. And there was just like a random accordion music. And I'm like, I think there's a tag here. What happened to that? And apparently, yeah, there's some song in there. And I go, that is a real song that you had to pay somebody for? That's crazy.
That's really frustrating.
There's another one where Drew and this woman are like getting intimate on his pool table, and these kids come to sing Christmas songs, and they go, hey, do you know any Barry White? Because he's trying to get in the mood, and that's the joke. Well, they cut right before the kids start singing that song, because they do sing a Barry White song. Can't do that.
It's so, like, I guess they wouldn't have, like, done all this, like, these music numbers if they didn't know they could just, I mean, no one knew that we needed to do this later.
Right now, you sign the contract where, like, we have the rights to use this in perpetuity throughout the known universe. Which I think you should just say universe, right? Because at some point there's going to be a universe we don't know, and we're going to discover it. Unless then it becomes technically part of the known universe. I don't know. Anyway, like when they're playing the music, it makes sense. But like you don't really think about it when they're singing it or quoting it, as we'll get to later on. In the episode where Tim Allen gets stranded in his backyard because after a parachute mishap.
You're not talking about Home Improvement. You're talking about
I'm talking about Tim Allen playing himself, sort of has a parachute issue and lands in Drew Carey's backyard, gets stuck in his tree. Just for like an opening gag thing.
Because they were both on ABC, right?
Yes,
for Home
exactly.
Improvement?
Yep.
Wow, I love it. I want to watch that episode.
Tim Allen's only in it for the first 5 minutes, but it's a good
Doesn't
opening.
matter.
Yeah. Anyway, Drew Carey comes in, begins the episode like he's singing the "Working in a Coal Mine" going down. Sings it for like 5 seconds. They had to like awkwardly cut around. They had to start the episode later after Drew Carey's already in there, in mid-action doing something, and you're like, well, that was an odd opening. They had to cut around that. There's an episode where Kate is dating a guy who tells everybody he's the devil, and so he's like, well, Kate sold her soul for me, so I have to keep dating her. And so Drew's like, well, I'll play in a game of pool for her soul to like humor him. And then like Ryan Stiles puts on "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," a funny song to put there. They don't have that song there. They have some weird random mishmash thing, some royalty-free devil music or something.
Royalty-free devil music.
The dancing completely out of sync. It's just so awkward. Oh, here was one I was really surprised. There's an episode where it's actually a 2-episode arc where he's dating Caroline Rhea of Sabrina the Teenage Witch fame. She actually had her own talk show for like 2 weeks or something too, I think.
Yeah, I remember.
And they're at a party together and they do the chicken dance. They couldn't use the chicken dance music, Joe.
The chicken dance?
They couldn't use the chicken dance.
This is just like the fucking happy birthday shit.
I know. I'm sorry, audience, there's a lot here, but it is because I kept forgetting to do it in other weeks, and then we had like 6 weeks off, and I've been watching a lot of the Drew Carey show.
It's all good.
All right, they do the coal mine, "Working in a Coal Mine" song again when they're like crossing. There's like a problem with the crosswalk, and the store goes on strike to like get them to build one to make it safe because it's a dangerous intersection. There's like a whole tag where they're like crossing it, singing the coal mine song together. That's just cut. It's black now, I think, at the ending.
Awful.
Drew Carey did a number of episodes where they took like a song and did like a little music video at the beginning. A lot of those ended up becoming their theme songs that they would use, so it made sense they had the rights to those or had to get them anyway. I guess they didn't have to because Married with Children doesn't do that.
Cleveland Rocks,
5 O'Clock World, Moon Over Parma, like they do things like that. Anyway, but they also did like random one-off ones. Like they had one for the song "What Is Hip," and they've kept the whole sequence, which is good because that's like 3 minutes of your episode. But just some completely random generic song that I don't even remember if it had words or not. Just like some like faux funk song thrown over it. No energy. Super bummer.
Damn.
There's an episode I didn't know what they would do where Drew Carey accidentally throws a giant Cleveland-wide bash in his house when he thinks his company's going to go out of business. And it gets so big that Joe Walsh and Little Richard show up at his party, and they spend like the last 5 minutes like playing a song in his living room. And what they did was just now, like, essentially Drew Carey's like trying to keep the party from getting out of hand, and all of a sudden Joe Walsh and Little Richard come downstairs from his house where they were upstairs playing chess. And Drew Carey's like, wow, it's you guys. Would you like to play a song? And they go, yeah, we'll play a song. And then they go and they play the song. But now he's just like, wow, it's you guys. And then the show's over. The episode just ends abruptly. Fade to black. Just the episode is like 18 minutes long instead of 22 or whatever.
That sucks.
And then one of the weirdest things I was surprised by, that an episode begins and I go, wow, I've seen this opening before, this like opening bit. And I go, well, I've seen these episodes a million times, so that makes sense. And I go, no, I feel like I very recently saw this. And it turns out it was actually from like 5 episodes back, but they reused it, not because of a music right issue, Joe, but because they actually, for the TV run, the episodes I've been watching, the HD downloads don't have it, but there was a TV runtime where they had to cut a whole storyline about the King of Poland. There's a whole storyline, a B story.
Was it too controversial?
Where Mimi, we find out, is actually like a distant descendant of Polish royalty. She's like the Duchess of Krakow's grandniece or something. There haven't been Polish royalty in some 100 years, so it's just sort of like a tongue-in-cheek joke. But then she's like, after the funeral of the Duchess of Krakow, she gets contacted by the King of Poland who wants to meet her and restart the royal family in Poland, and that's played by Homer Simpson. But he's like just as like some janitor at a local high school or something. And apparently Poland found this very offensive and made them take it out. So to keep the episode from being 11 minutes, they added a very long opening and then went to the credits and then went to the episode's original opening and just kind of moved on from there, where David Cross comes back and tries to like single white female Drew Carey.
This is messing with art.
I agree. And I'm about to do an episode where Drew has the big, like, let's do the Time Warp Priscilla, Queen of the Desert musical mashup sequence. That's the whole third act of the show. I don't know what they're going to do for that. It's a very famous routine in the show. I don't know. But so I'll keep you up to date with a little Drew watch. A little scary Carey as they keep fucking around with it. But, you know, like, otherwise you don't get to watch any of this. So, like, I guess I'm glad they did something, but it is a bummer every time I watch one of those.
You know, someday, because they finally put on Homicide: Life on the Streets. That had never been a thing that ever, and that's a huge show.
Yeah.
The Moonlighting show that had a similar issue with like music stuff, I believe. That finally got streaming rights. It's on a bunch of streaming services now. Malcolm in the Middle, same thing with music rights. But they figured those out a while ago.
Yeah, I just gotta like win a lottery or something, and then just like take this as my goodwill ambassador journey.
Yeah,
to be like, this show
Drew
needs
Carey
to be
just
on
needs
streaming.
like a little boost. I know he does Price is Right, but he needs to get like just a little little fanfare for something. And then
this feels like a thing where
oh.
Drew's on his deathbed. He's like, all right, listen, use a lot of my money, get the music rights.
Yeah.
Like, I want to live on for the ages.
Put out a fantastic box set.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll do it. Show Factory, one of these like boutique places. They'll do it eventually.
All right. Well, thanks for sticking through my 10-minute recap of all the horrible changes made to the Drew Carey show to get it on streaming. But I know it sounds like a lot. I really listed you like 10 out of 48 episodes. So we're doing okay here. I just am surprised at how many times music was important. Even like sneaky little things. They got Christmas Carol stuff coming up that are major plot points. Are those copyright? I'm going to find out. Baby, It's Cold Outside. Is that in the public domain? I don't know. We're going to find out very soon.
I hope it is.
Popeye's now in the public domain.
That's good.
And Tintin. Some more Mickey Mouse things. Silly symphonies. Not the Grinch.
No, the Grinch is.
It is? By accident?
I think so. Yeah. Because they made a Grinch horror movie like a year ago, and now they're making a sequel. It's coming out like next month.
You're just talking about Krampus?
No, it's called The Mean One. It stars the guy who plays Art the Clown.
He just loves his Christmas movies.
He does.
All right, any other last looks on the liar here?
I love Jim in this. He's really like turning on like how much he can like move his face around in all sorts of crazy ways. And he even mentions it to his son because he's like, his kid asks, "Hey, if I put my face like this, my teacher says it's going to stay like that." And he's like, "No, sometimes people make a lot of money for that."
Yes.
Obviously a little hint at himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this. How do you feel about it?
I liked it. Like Ebert, I was sort of refreshed by the groundedness of it. It felt germane. I will quibble with this cross-country move happens extremely last minute. I'm like, his kid's got to get pulled from school. You got to file a lot of documents for the new thing. You haven't even...
Well, that's why the mother's just like sipping on like as much alcohol as she can get on the plane.
Yeah, but
she's
that's
just like, this is a bad idea. What am I doing?
Like, Jim's a high-priced lawyer. Like, there's a lot of things you got to do. There's custody stuff you got to go through. There's a court thing. Jim can fight that along the way. It just seemed to happen in like 2 weeks.
Well, that's why he was fighting for his son. He's like, I'm gonna get him back.
Yeah, and then, yes, the other very grounded thing is this big tarmac chase scene in the plane. I just like... And then Jennifer Tilly's changing her age to get married, but like then also the marriage wouldn't be legal, so the prenup wouldn't even take effect, and she wouldn't have access to the old stuff because they weren't legally married ever.
Yeah.
I can't just presume the parents consented to that, but not the prenup. If they presumed to one, they probably did the other, so... I
didn't even think about any of this stuff after the fact. I'm like, oh, she won? Okay, that's crazy.
It just was like, your whole argument was like, she was underage, so she couldn't sign a prenup. And I'm like, well, if she's underage, she also can't get married. That's right? That was the whole thing. Nobody wanted to bring that up. So, grounded, let's not go too crazy here. Let's not go too crazy. But a perfectly fine film, fun for the family. There was, I guess, a fart joke, but, a very tasteful fart joke.
It was very tasteful.
A literary fart joke, if you will.
When he's, what is the joke? When he's talking about his secretary, and she's like, wait, where'd you get this picture for this Tiffany's picture frame? And he's just like, it was marked down to 10. Like, it's just like he doesn't want to.
Yeah, it's a new way to get the fun Jim Carrey stuff that we like.
It's really
a new
great.
Shade of it, very germane to a character that can just be a normal guy who also happens to be silly. He's not a cartoon. He just is like a goofy guy.
He just really wants to take his kid to that wrestling show.
I know. I'm like, oh, Joe can relate to this.
Yep.
Yeah, going to wrestling with the son, that'll be the happiest day of his life. Joe wishes his son was that into wrestling.
Sort of. A little bit.
You're like, son, I'm glad you're not going to turn out like me. You don't want to be into wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, it just breaks your heart every time.
It does.
Yeah. All right. The stethoscope. Can we talk about the stethoscope headphones on the airplane?
Yeah, that was a weird thing. I guess they still kind of had those right at the last time I went on the plane back in like 2013, 14.
Yeah, there was a time, young listeners, where you didn't get to bring your headphones and like hook them up. You had to buy them because there was a very specific connector that you had to hook into the chair, and also you had to watch the same stupid movie everybody else had to watch, and I'm glad I never flew back then. I don't know how I would get through it. I do not know.
Everybody has to watch Alvin and the Chipmunks to squeak.
Yeah, like it'd be something along those lines.
Because it has to be family friendly.
Exactly. Something non-offensive for everybody.
That feels offensive though, right?
I don't know.
That movie.
All right. Well, I had to thank World According to Tarps. I didn't know what I didn't know about tarps until I went to A World According to Tarps. I'd like to thank Lev Van Rensselaer for minding those audio boards and keeping us sound so simply smooth.
Lev.
And sorry again to give you such bad audio from the 8 Crazy Nights episodes, but you did the best you could, and nobody faults you. It's all our fault. I'd like to thank Joe Vekeman for stopping by.
Thank you.
And perhaps he told us a lot of lies today, perhaps some truths. We don't know. We don't know what wish was made on that candle. We can't tell people, or it won't come true.
It's after 8:15.
I'd like to thank, I guess me? You see, I'm out of practice. I don't know anymore. I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill. You can find my features, documentaries, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com and social media, presumably with a similar sounding name. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
Moving with speed in the name of the fire. Boom, boom, liar. Zoom, zoom, dire.
I don't know how to say it any better. I think terrestrial TV has given up.
What do you mean?
Right, I fly on the planes and I see the thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it just kind of dawned on me as yet there was another 8-hour chunk of Friends or The Office or King of Queens or whatever. It's like, these used to have to be curated, It was like an hour of this show and then an hour of this show. And then now they're just like, we don't want to be bothered with thinking of all that. Just pick one show. We only have to wear one show and just drop it on there. People like binging anyway, so it's fine. And on top of that, you got these, Paramounts being sold or merged or whatever, and they're like, yeah, you know what? Priorities for us are not Nickelodeon or MTV or whatever. We're focused purely on streaming now in the future. Then last night, Happy New Year, everybody. As of recording, this is January 1st, 2025. Last night, I'm like, I'm not flying for the first time in 6 years. I will see what TV's doing for New Year's. I'll tell you, I went to the local channel. Nothing. It's just the news. And I go, what happened to... Where's all the New Year's celebration? Where are all these a million things? There's nothing. For everybody else, it's business as usual. One year on the plane, at least, some old people channel was like, well, New Year's Eve, we're going to show all the last episodes of your old favorites. And then on New Year's Day, we'll show all the first episode. And I thought, it's business as usual pretty much everywhere. I found one channel, and they had Dick Clark Presents Rockin' New Year with Ryan Seacrest. That channel couldn't come in. It was extremely glitchy and blurry.
Wow.
Then eventually I found one other channel, one other version of Channel 5 streaming from Las Vegas. New Year's round the clock or something.
New Year's round the clock.
And I will tell you, the clock above with the New Year's countdown and the countdown the host did in the last 10 seconds were off. They were 5 seconds apart. The hosts were counting down. They got to 5, and all of a sudden, all the celebrations behind them went off, and they all looked at each other like, "Oh shit, fuck!" But they just sped up through the last 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, embarrassing. Terrestrial TV doesn't care. They're like, "We know you're not watching, so we don't. Why are we gonna put in the effort? We're just gonna do it as we always do all the time."
Yeah. I took Julian to get his hair cut yesterday. Did I send you the picture?
No.
I'll send you a picture of it. It's cute. They asked if he wanted this hair gel in his hair. It was but it was a red dye hair gel. It washes right out.
And he said, "Yeah, do it like in There's Something About Mary, just ploof it right up."
And you'll see they did. And he hated it 5 minutes after it came out. He put it in, and I'm like, oh no.
You just tell him those are wacky funhouse mirrors, Julian. It doesn't really look like that.
Well, I told him it'll wash out really quick, so we came home after and we washed it out. It was just funny. But my point to bring that up is that we were at this place in Cumberland called Kids Adventure Cuts.
Wow, this is quite the haircut, is all I'll say.
It's just a regular haircut, but they just put some gel in it.
Was he playing PlayStation at the barber place?
Yeah, that's the thing. They had
Genius.
His Cars 3 game that he's been playing all the time here. They had that game in there for him to play. They were like, come over, sit in the booth. You pick out a movie or a video game, and then you get to watch one of those or do one of those things while they cut your hair.
Wish my barber did that.
Yeah,
right now for me.
He was so happy. And but before that, though, we were in the little waiting area, and they had Disney Channel on, and Disney Channel was counting down the best of 2024, and it was just the channel with they would have some program on, and then the commercials would be interstitials of best of 2024. There's a music video that played, and he was all excited about that. So Disney's still doing something like they used to. And then HBO Max, even though it's just Max,
HBO Max in our hearts.
If you went on their home screen for on my Roku last night, you could watch the countdown live streamed from that app.
Yeah, I'm sure there are countdowns out there, just like everything else. It's just streaming now. And yet, Paramount, also not caring about Nickelodeon, got rid of a whole bunch of Nickelodeon shows recently from Paramount Plus.
Terrible.
Where are they going? Tubi, will you rescue us?
It's all wacky right now.
What? It's like what happened, to everything. Where's it going?
It's a mess.
You're not even going to show it? You can't put it online? It just like sits there. It just hangs. What's the problem?
Well, it's also like the last real sticking point for cable TV was wrestling, because even like all the sports have been pushed over to all these streaming services now. And now tonight, AEW goes live simulcast on their TBS station and HBO Max streaming service. It's live streamed on there now.
Yeah, I said Netflix was advertising to me yesterday. It's like, you want
Netflix
some
is doing the
Raw?
same thing with WWE. It's crazy. That has been on cable since 1993.
Yeah.
Has not been not on cable. It just has always been every Monday. Just get the show every week. No weeks off.
Oh yeah, Comedy Central is another one of those channels that Paramount was like, yeah, we don't really care about this anymore.
It's wild.
I just like at all.
Think of-
Like you're gonna come out and say it? That kind of sucks.
You're right though, because it's only cable really feels like it's only for people over 65 who have just had it and never got rid of it.
Yeah.
People who are trapped in hotels with nothing better to do that day, or people on planes. They're just trying to find
But
like live
even
TV.
the planes now, like I only get like 25 channels of cable. I'm surely there must be more cable.
It's
Right?
so wild.
My pre-cable TV used to have 25 channels we'd get. There must be more.
There were so many channels, and now maybe they went away.
Even when that sometimes the plane would have FXX, which owns The Simpsons, owns quote unquote.
Well, now, yeah, it's because it's
Like it would only ever show that in like 2-hour chunks, and I'm like, there's 800 of you guys. Why can't I get the 8-hour marathons of that?
they used to do those once in a while.
Like I got 8 hours of King of Queens, but I can't get that for The Simpsons. Are you
I
kidding
know you can
me?
have like a whole great season. Just play.
Even whatever, you get a season 15 in there. I'll do 6 hours of that on a plane. That's fine. I don't care about the commercials. I know I've shown the old people channel to some people, and they're like, I can't do commercials anymore. And I'm like, well, you're gonna. So
It's not that bad.
It's not.
I do it with
It's
my
not. You know
basketball
what?
and my wrestling.
commercials, are a great time for going to the bathroom,
Yep.
finding a snack, refilling your
times.
water,
Yep.
scrolling on your phone.
Yep.
What a great stopgap commercials are to let us do our daily things. It's okay.
Yeah.
And guess what? Y'all got to get used to commercials anyway, because all your streaming services are going to have them in the next 2 years. So
Yeah.
buckle up, everybody.
The whole thing with Netflix, everyone was like, "Oh, Raw's going to Netflix. This is great. No more commercials." And then they announced like 2 weeks ago, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna have ads on this show." What are you talking about? So yeah, even if you like have an ad-free tier, I think you're still gonna get commercials.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we've just moved TV online.
Yep.
We've switched one cable for a DSL cable. The end.
It's fun.
It is. We've done it. We've gone full circle. We called this like 10 years ago. We called all the networks having their own streaming channels 10 years ago.
And now they're eating each other up.
And there's the inevitable soon-to-be bundling of streaming channels together in a package that is more easy to manage and affordable
They're already trying to do it.
has already started coming true. Disney and Hulu is basically doing that. They'll add more.
Yeah, no, it's Disney, Hulu, ESPN.
And quite frankly, we're getting an early version of this with all of these streaming channels selling each other their own stuff.
Yep.
We're getting
Like
a
Tubi,
proto
getting
version
everything.
of it. It's we did it. We're the Simpsons basically. We're so smart over here. You couldn't pull one past us streaming. And there were like 3 streaming channels back then. We nailed it. I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of calling that The Rock was going to be in Fast X. I'm very proud of those.
Well, I mean, in a few years, you're going to be able to say that you called his candidate for presidency.
Yes, I know. We're going to be sitting pretty over here. All right, let's do the real show, though.
We did the
ready.
show.
Let's do the show. Let me drink the water.